like while he's, there's a cult of personality about him, he's like a far right dictator, right? But he had a vision for his country. He had a strong political belief. He began as a in like grassroots political organizations. You could same thing about Mao, Xi Jinping, Mussolini, Franco, right? Like, and then you go
I wouldn't really group
further
Mao
back and
and
further
the
back.
rest, but that's more of a debate for that we can talk about later.
Yeah,
Bro,
yeah,
don't
maybe
draw.
I
Yeah,
don't, I don't
go
know
ahead.
too
Sorry, my
much
bad,
about
bro. Yeah,
Mao, but
I
what I'm
don't.
saying is, right, all these
Yeah,
people, right, generally tend to be pretty politically active, right? Trump, on the other hand, right, it's like he's never picked up a textbook in his life, right? He doesn't really know any history, right? He doesn't know what paleoconservatism is, right?
Dude, he
If
called
you if you
No, he
ask
Lenin
him,
does.
Lenin. He called
like,
him Lenin.
like like this dude, like, I just don't think he's very like, I might be wrong here, right? But I mean, there's two things. Sorry, that I'm saying is one, that we've just fallen into our trap again, right? It's that a large and like a significant portion of a country's population cannot help but want this kind of like godlike cult of personality leader over something else, because those are the usually the kind of like impoverished, uneducated, like majority of a country, right? That
Hmm.
for them it's much easier to understand a simple, powerful speaker, right? Rather than actually like engage themselves in any sort of like productive political debates, right? Um, and that's happened with Trump now, right? Like, and that's it leads to these kind of like dictators and authoritarians. Like, is it is kind of like slippery slope into fascism always starts with this figure, right? Um,
No, I don't think Trump is a
he,
fascist at all. Actually, you know what I think? I was trying to say this earlier. I think QAnon is a marketing scheme that Donald Trump intentionally implemented because there are some things with that conspiracy theory that there's no way there's no way that's a coincidence. I think it's a fucking marketing scheme to get like stupid people on his side. You see what I'm saying? Like there are some like weird things where like he's alluded to the theory and like all the retards are like, oh, that means it's real. That means he's really fighting a fucking this is a shadow war with the elites. It's like,
well, you
no.
don't
fighting
you
into
don't
the
think
interdimensional
well,
travel.
there are definitely some kind of like he's similar to a fascist. You can see why people compare him to fascists.
He uses
Damn, bro.
Like,
fascist rhetoric, but not fascist policy.
I
If he
mean,
used fascist policy, then he probably wouldn't give corporate bailouts to billionaires.
I think corporatism is
No, but
I
corporatism and
I don't
fascism.
know.
No,
Do you
corporatism
know
is
what
not the same as.
corporatism is?
I don't think corporate. Many people don't. It's not the same as corporatocracy, which is the word I think that many people are looking for when they try to describe it. Within fascism, it has a more specific meaning. I mean, Pearson obviously knows a lot about this, but
Yeah, I
it's
can I
just,
can
it's actually in
explain.
many ways, bro. You know what's funny, Pearson? I think pe people are fooled by the fact that it has corporatist or
Hmm.
corporatism as the entirety of the title because they think that that means that it's talking about a domination of society, no, the domination of society by corporations or a situation in which
Yeah.
corporations dominate society. That's not really what it's talking about. It's saying that, I mean, you can expand on this because you definitely know a lot about it as well. But basically, it goes back to Mussolini and some of the thinkers that he took inspiration from. I'm pretty sure even early fascist philosophers like Gentile probably hinted at this, but it just says that so any type of organized entity within society, which you could say that a corporation is one form or manifestation of, sure, but there are many other forms of it. There are trade guilds,
Mhm.
trade unions, labor unions, and so on and so forth. Any organized unit, social unit, should actually be converged and coalesced or funneled into a higher totality that actually suits and serves the ends of the betterment of society. So you have all of these units that are working together. So that actually the idea is literally the opposite of what Trump's doing right now, because the
Yeah.
corporations will be more subservient to the good of society. They would have to
Hmm.
work for whatever the totality of the social organism actually wants. And you know what, Pearson? I think, man, there's a lot. China's a really fascinating rabbit hole. Contemporary China, the
Hmm.
CCP, what they've been trying to do, Jinping. We can definitely talk about. I don't even know if we'll have enough time to touch on all of it, but I do think that they're actually trying to at least approximate that type of corporate model, and I think that that's why
Yeah.
they're more successful in certain areas. I mean, maybe not in every area, but there are some aspects of their society that we should probably try to emulate. I mean, obviously not all of it, but yeah, corporatism and corporatocracy are not the same thing at all. completely different. I
Yeah.
think that's the bottom line. And I agree
Yeah,
with
so
most of the assessment. So yeah, go ahead, bro. Yeah.
basically corporatism in the Italian sense, corporate corporation in Italian literally means like a trade union. So how corporatism functions is the state pretty much takes control of all the businesses and runs them like a trade union would run the business. That's fairly. I know Jordan just mentioned Xi Jinping. I think
Mhm.
she like Dangism and Xi Jinping thought is like the most the closest to actual um like there were it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain, but Giovanni Gentile comes from Marxism. His actual goal in fascism, as well as Georges Sorel, who is the progenitor of fascism, if you're
Yeah.
familiar, who was actually an anarchist, a Proudhonian anarchist who was influenced by Marx, and also dipped his toe into race realism um, and nationalism and such things. So their theory is pretty much the way we get to um, kind of what Marx described as like a socialist or communist society is actually through more we need to develop it through capitalistic means that are controlled like a death grip by the state. That's kind of what Xi Jinping is doing. That's what Deng is doing. Deng was doing. And so I think Xi Jinping has had like um, the most successful and the most viable interpretation of fascism, even unintentionally, because their state has survived through it. They haven't, gotten into any like retarded wars over land disputes or colonialism, although they're hinting that they're going to do that with Taiwan. Um,
Yeah,
that's why I pretty much described myself as as having relations to Dangism or Xi Jinping thought at the beginning of the podcast is because if I say I'm a fascist, then that kind of most people are gonna understand that as I believe in like authoritarianism for the sake of authoritarianism or like ridiculous racial policies or anything like that. When I
yeah.
really, what I'm really advocating for is like the abolition of private property and things like that. I'm not
I believe in that as
advocating
well. Yeah.
for and for things like dialectical materialism within um, a less of a culturally left wing stance and more of a race realist stance, but still with the end goal of the abolition of private property and the communal
Mhm.
state and the
Yeah.
disintegration of the state. I think is something that will eventually happen over like thousands of years, but I don't think it's
Disintegration of the state.
disintegration of the state. So basically, the point in history where a state becomes essentially irrelevant. I think it'll remain as like a tradition to have a state, but I don't
Well,
think it's going to become
when you say
essential.
state, do you mean like an organized government that taxes
Yes.
citizens? Like,
Well, in Marxism,
I
state has a
mean, then
specific
I mean, I
definition.
guess practically, then how would you provide public goods?
I mean,
Like,
humans didn't use states for a long time. I mean,
not very long
for
at all,
thousands
to
of
be
years prior
honest.
to the,
For
yeah,
thousands of years
prior
when
to,
we had tribes, but as soon as we had like organized like societies with like, you know, populations over 10,000 in one place, we had states immediately. Like
Hmm.
immediately. Like taxes and states have been around since the beginning of time. So I
there
Yeah,
are
I
different
mean,
ways to respond. I mean, I'm not even, yeah, go ahead, Pearson. There's a lot I can
I
say
don't
though.
think, I don't think the state is going to reach a point where it ceases to exist as an entity, but I think it is going to reach a point where it is essentially irrelevant um, because of the amount of
what
A,
part
technological process, and B, communitarianism,
so technological
mutual aid, and such things.
processes So people just help each other out, and public goods are provided by the community for the sake of community.
Yes, I think that
I mean,
will
that's a
eventually
classic
But
happen.
anarchist
then,
type
but I
idea.
guess
Yeah.
that why hasn't that happened yet?
Let me
Because
get
we're
a
not
contextualize
technologically
this. Yeah.
developed enough.
So it's our lack of technology that makes it impossible
To
for
an
that to,
extent, and also,
yeah.
well, it's the lack of production. The more production you have, which is why actually Marx advocates for capitalism before socialism,
But then I
before
guess like if
communism,
who
is
would
we need to have enough production so it's sustainable for the, the populace to exist off,
I mean, to get back
and it's
to what
not
I
well,
at
I
that
first
mean,
point
if
yet.
look,
wanted to
if
say.
you, I guess if you're talking, look, I guess if you're saying, right, that technological progress will cause the community, right, to provide public goods for the community, right,
Hmm.
then you're just left with the question, right, where will the funding for that technological process come from, right? The community, right?
Hmm.
And so the community funds technological progress, right? And so how do you decide on that funding, right? Maybe you look at people's income brackets, right? And make sure people have an equal share of what they contribute based on what they make each year, right?
Hmm.
You agree, right?
Yeah.
That those are taxes, that's the state. Like
Yeah.
that's how it works. So you would
But
still
I believe
have
that'll
a
eventually
state.
become socially enforced by actually, this is kind of something that's a fascist concept, is the state becoming so big that it ceases to exist in a weird way, because if everybody's involved in the state, then it just becomes a community.
That's just how it is.
Yeah,
Okay. It's yeah, I see what you
You
mean.
know, actually,
that's
I
like
just
e
So
pluribus
it
unum.
doesn't
If you're
it
like, it's like
doesn't
the
cease
American
to
founding.
exist. It's in the background. You just don't think about it.
now
Well,
that
it's
I
not.
mention it, actually, I literally
Like what, but you know
I
what I
have a
mean.
text I think that has the answer to some of your questions. Yeah, are you
On
guys familiar
conquest of
with this
bread.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, just because now that we're talking about this, it literally reminded me that I have this book. I didn't even realize that's in my room, but
It's a
this,
good book, except
yeah,
for
no, this is actually, I think I got this at a bookstore.
a lot of
But,
conclusions people reach from it are fucking stupid though, I think.
yeah. I think, well, bread, yeah, of course,
Yeah.
breadtube and all that shit. You know what's funny, bro, is that none of the people in breadtube really understand these types of ideas. You know what I'm saying? I've
Yeah.
never heard them even talk about it. And when they
They're
do, it's
just
just
like
in this super shallow, completely watered down version that doesn't actually go into any detail.
yeah.
I fucking hate breadtube. It's just so,
They actually
bro,
believe the shit from like Umberto Eco and stuff like
yeah.
that.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's just so many problems. I used to love all of those guys though, bro. H Bomber guy, Sean, ContraPoint, all of those types of YouTubers I used to like when I was really deep into just entry level leftism, but I really just moved beyond it because I
We need a
realized it was so lackluster.
we need a
And
pod dunking on Antonio Gramsci. That's what we need.
yeah,
The only
Gramsci's
one
fucking
that
annoying. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I think
the only
Gramsci's
one I
pretty
think
fucking ass. Yeah.
actually made good videos on BreadTube was Hakim.
Hakeem, dude,
Yeah,
yo,
dude.
He
Yeah.
made he
that's my
made good
fucking
videos. I mean,
man. That's my
here's the
fucking
thing,
man. Hakeem. Yeah,
like,
it's more like Hakeem, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
Hakeem.
He's from Iraq. Yeah, he's
fucking,
fucking sick. Yeah.
you know who's like the best of the whole internet left wing, but is also like fucking retarded at the same time?
Mr.
Haas.
Maupin.
Haas.
Oh,
No, dude,
huh.
I met Caleb Maupin. I fucking met Caleb Maupin,
Dude,
and I didn't know like the fucking meeting that we had with him was so fucking awkward. They had like
bro,
this
send the picture
terrible
to
fucking.
chat because Rafa
No,
hasn't seen the picture, bro. It's
it's
fucking
really,
hilarious. You're just
dude.
standing
Caleb
next to
Maupin.
Caleb Maupin. He's like, bro, but he's shorter than he was just.
Yeah,
He has this blank
yeah.
stare, dude.
I
He
don't.
looks so fucking. Bro, why does he look so fucking awkward at all times?
I don't
I've
know.
never seen him just chill. He's just super stressed and stuff.
He has a
It's because
spanking
from getting,
fetish.
yeah, because he's been spanked too many times, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Have you seen like the debate he had with Cultured Thug, who's a fucking idiot, by the way? I don't like Cultured Thug. I
Oh,
think he's
dude, I
retarded.
actually, bro, you know
But
what's funny?
like,
I see Cultured Thug's name pop up all the time just from hanging out in
yeah,
spaces like watching Destiny and shit like that. And bro, he seems like one of those guys who desperately pretty much sucks up to other people and constantly spams them because he wants to be seen, but he's actually irrelevant. You know that type of
yeah,
guy online, like the fucking reply guys and shit. Bro, he's
Oh yeah,
always,
dude.
bro, he's always seemed like that to me. Because I always see him adding people on Twitter saying, bro, debate me, bro. And he gets mad at people if they won't do it, but everyone's like, bro, no one knows who you fucking are. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like his arguments are
Yeah.
just bad.
He's
He doesn't
basically
advocate for third position in a smart way. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
he's
But yeah.
basically a idiot who read a lot of books. He's not a smart guy. He's an alcoholic and he fucking beats his wife. His organization, New Frontier, completely like imploded on himself because he fucking stole money from the organization and then did a bunch of dumb shit with it. And the other guy that he was in the call with, his name was like Deebs or whatever. Guess what? Deebs also fucking stole money from New Frontier, and guess what he did with it?
What?
I fucking forget the name of like the practitioner, but it's like those things where like they go into a room and like a woman like ties them up and like stretches them out and like whips them and shit. Except he went to a
Oh,
transgender one.
dominatrix.
Yes,
So
yes, he went
Yeah,
to
I
a
would
he
know.
spent
Yeah,
he spent
definitely.
the funds from New Frontier on a transgender dominatrix. That's a true story.
Oh, bro, are you serious?
Yeah.
What the fuck? So is it like BDSM? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
It's
It's
some
that's
weird
what it
shit
is.
like that.
They like tie you
some
up and like
fetish.
spank you.
So it's some
Yeah.
fetish shit, and she was transgender as well.
Yeah.
Then they like wear latex and like cat ears. Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
you know what my question is? Who was dumb and gullible enough to give him money in the first place? You know,
Dude, he's a
that's the real.
convicted felon. You
Oh,
know, he was in prison for like a long ass time. The reason he became based was he was in prison for a long time and he read Mein Kampf and he was like, oh shit, this is based, bro.
but
He's a fucking idiot.
that's not a very Wojcicki friendly clip in the podcast.
And um yeah, he said actually no, I won't get into that. I don't want to legally endanger him.
Yeah, but no, you were saying so he debated Caleb Moffitt.
Yes, he debated Caleb Maupin, and Caleb Maupin had like a soy fit in it, and he was like, "No, I because fascism is when capitalism in decay." It's like that's
Bro,
not
he
even
always,
fuck.
dude,
Yeah,
to be honest, bro, I have such a past with Caleb Maupin because I watched him, dude, man, such a fucking story. I've been watching him since probably 2019, bro. I mean, I've
yeah,
been in deep with Caleb Maupin, you know, Kent Mop the Maupin and shit like that. But dude, there's so many fucking slogans about him. But I feel like he's almost self-defeating in a way because he just doesn't really know how to present himself. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And he
Hmm.
always falls back on those weird slogans that people just don't take seriously. Bro, the fascism is capitalism in crisis or capitalism in decay. I swear he's repeated that 500 times at the time. It's basically a chant. And then we're gonna fight for working families. You know, he has bro, he has all these freaking slogans. But I think deep down, don't you think he's probably a good guy? I mean, or he
Yeah,
seems
he's
like
a
he's
good
that.
guy,
Yeah, he seems
but
like honest. You
actually,
know, he's not a bread tuber
I
piece
don't,
of shit.
I,
Yeah.
I don't know because I know he did spend funds for the CPI on like hookers.
Are you serious,
That's
bro?
that's what
Dude,
made me think about Culture Thug. Is the fact that
wait.
Caleb Maupin spent funds on fucking hookers that were supposed to go to his organization. And his organization is pretty much like a bunch of fucking North Korean spies. Um,
Dude, have you seen the videos of the CPI meetups? It's insane,
yes,
bro. It's some LARP
that's
type of shit.
that's what I went to.
Oh, you
I
went
went
to a
to one of them.
CPI
And
meetup?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it was
in
fucking funny.
Virginia. In Virginia,
Yeah,
right?
Whoever keeps requesting AI companion, I'm not gonna do it because the previous guest will be able to see what we're talking about, so I'm not gonna do that.
what?
Dude, bro, Pearson, I would have gone with you to
Okay.
CPI, man, in Virginia.
Um,
That fucking hilarious. We
guys,
should have trolled him to an extent, you
I
know? Not too over the top, but we should have just done one little funny maneuver, some type
Yeah,
of reference. But dude, at the same time, and I haven't watched that debate with Cultured Thug. I don't know what happens in it, but I've seen most of the debates, and he's not that strong of a debater. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I feel like, and other people could argue for his positions more effectively than he does. You know. But anyways, there's a lot to say when it comes to Mop, and I think he's a relatively effective rhetorician in some respects. I mean, he knows how to conduct polemics. by himself when he's actually prepared them ahead of time. But he's not that fast on his feet, which I think is terrible, absolutely terrible within the context of debating. And have you seen him debate Destiny? That was many
No.
years ago,
I love, yeah, I
2019.
Oh, I
debated
listened to
Destiny.
your
That was the
Destiny
best
debate,
person that ever
Jordan.
debated Destiny, me.
Yeah, Jake, I can't believe we made it that far. That's hilarious, man. I actually, you know what? I like Destiny in many ways. I mean, he has,
I don't.
uh, bro. No,
I
it's not.
do
It's
in
not
many
just
ways.
about.
I do in
It's
many
not
ways.
about agreeing with him on every issue. It's just more so that, and as pathetic as it sounds, he played a very important role in actually shaping pretty much my early teenage life. And it was really parasocial type of shit, bro. No, it sounds really creepy, but literally, I would just
Yeah, and you
constantly.
had the opportunity to debate him with me, and you were just
Yeah.
like, "Oh no,
No,
I'm
because
busy."
I was in a different state with Flying Cabal, actually. I was in Washington.
Oh,
And
okay.
he was preparing questions for him about Israel Palestine and these types of issues because he's really passionate about that. And Destiny has a pretty weird stance on Israel. I think he's made some
Yeah.
really dumb arguments. I don't know, maybe he's just afraid of losing sponsorships and shit. Which is weird though, because in 2020 he said mow them all down. I don't give a fuck about their lives. Bro, do you
I
remember
mean,
the